I'm more ready to talk about whether or not DMX is actually alive than I am to talk about Monster Hunter.
I've never wanted to have sex with a pot pie, but like, I'd have sex with that pot pie.
We're all weak to stepping on nails.
Let me preface this by saying I wrote a script.
Daytona Beach is like 2 mild inconveniences from being a post-apocalyptic wasteland anyway.
So many of my tabs say semen.
Are you guys ready for this weird, horny adventure that we're all about to go on?
You can't handcuff me for skanking.
This motherfucker gaslights you.
Diet Coke and Sorrow will be chapter 4.
And against all odds, Kyle, we became those swirly weirdos.
This whole podcast is a very negative mouthfeel.
Hello and welcome to Debate This, the show where no one is right, but someone is definitely wrong. In this show, we take time out of our busy adult lives to talk about comic books, video games, and how the fact that the world took Prince Philip and DMX from us on the same day is a better example of cosmic justice than the flag smashers acknowledging that hashtag Thanos did nothing wrong. Also, this is the time where I say I wrote this joke before DMX's manager got on Instagram and said, wait, no, guys, DMX is still alive.
That was like 2 days ago.
It was 2 days ago.
And then there was an official pronouncement of death.
Was there? Okay,
Yeah.
so I just
Yesterday.
Googled it and was like, is DMX still alive? And the most recent article is DMX is still alive according to his manager.
Oh my god.
So,
All right, well, hold on.
I
Because
don't know if
Julie told me Thursday night, and then it was Friday that it officially got announced. So I was very confused because I didn't see anything until Friday morning, but Julie was like, DMX is dead. And I was like, well, yeah, he's been in a coma all week because he OD'd again. But he's not.
His official death was 2 days ago, as of
All right.
recording. April 9th.
Okay.
well,
To date that.
in this moment, then rest in peace, DMX. You hip hop legend, you. Anyway,
you know the best thing about DMX. Now that we're gonna go around the circle and say our favorite thing about DMX
is it his cover of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
that's top
mine.
5.
Yeah.
Top 5. Mine was gonna say that he had planned a boxing match against George Zimmerman, where he said he would break all of the rules and murder him.
Yes. And George Zimmerman bitched out. That is absolutely my favorite DMX fact.
There was some sort of quote that he was gonna like break all the rules and kill him in the ring. It was like, yeah, all right.
It was something about like, yeah, I'm gonna kick his ass. I'm gonna break all the rules so I can kick his ass harder. I don't care about the rules. And I don't know if murder ever got thrown around, but
trivia fact, do you know what the D stands for in DMX?
Is it Dave?
It's not. It is not Dave Matthews Xavier. That is not his name. It is Dark Man X. That is what DMX stands for.
All right, cool.
What you really want.
That's my favorite Wolverine villain.
All right, sorry, we're done.
All right, so now that this episode is officially dedicated to hip-hop legend DMX, listeners, this may be a little early in the episode to peek behind the metaphorical curtain, but we have a long-standing bit here at DT HQ, where if an episode topic comes around where 3 guys know a lot about the subject and 1 guy knows nothing, that guy usually hosts. Well, much to my dismay and the dismay of Andrew, I still haven't caught on to the Monster Hunter Rise hype. Now, I'd like to be clear that I have actually played this game, I just don't like it. But because it is the hot search engine optimized video game of the month, it's the topic of today's episode.
Now, Matt, have you just tried hitting monsters with more weapons? I think you'd like it if you just hit more monsters with weapons. The sunk cost fallacy, we talked about that a couple episodes ago, and that's what you're doing to me.
It's why people join cults or stay in cults.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's why I've sunk 300 hours into Monster Hunter World Iceborne.
My God. And drug multiple friends down with you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Joining me today to talk about Digital Dinosaur Safari are Todd Ron Perlman Thomas, Kyle T.I. Harper, and Andrew, the guy who played young William Stryker in the second-gen X-Men movies, Henderson.
Man, if I had a nickel for every time somebody called me that. Matt, can I take this one? I know the answer to this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's actors in the Monster Hunter movies.
This is
starring Mila Jovovich.
Is it?
Yeah.
People you may or may not have known are in the Mila Jovovich 2020 Monster Hunter movie.
I need to see this movie, but I'm too much of a coward to go to an actual movie theater right now.
Is it on any streaming service that isn't Paramount Plus? Because I'm not paying for that.
I don't think so.
No. But you better believe I'm gonna buy it on DVD at Target for $5.
Who does Ron Perlman play?
I don't know. I don't know.
A grizzled monster hunting veteran.
It's like Doom. They didn't give it a story. It's not like it's the story of the original Monster Hunter, because there isn't one, but it's just like people that they made up.
I want Ron Perlman to play one of the monsters. Like one of the monsters.
Ron Perlman as Rathalos.
Yeah.
And it just has Ron Perlman's face.
And he just
like it's like a Rathalos, but with like a Ron Perlman chin.
With a Ron Perlman chin. He just gives like one monologue in like a fever dream sequence.
And he tweets awesome shit to Donald Trump.
Oh boy. Well, while the image of Ronthalos dances in my head, I may not know much about monster hunting. I do know something about a fictional pet store where you can buy all sorts of wacky pets. And if the targeted Facebook Marketplace ad I saw this morning is to be believed, our old friends at the Shut Up Todd Pet Store just got a whole new shipment of exotic monsters into their adoption center. So today, I ask you, friends, what Monster Hunter monster will you be bringing home today to be your new domesticated pet? Also, I looked at the episode of when we first brought up the Shut Up Todd Pet Store so that I can say, if you don't know this bit, you can go back to this episode. I don't remember what number it was, though.
Please stop trying to domesticate my nearsighted son.
Which I think is 25.
It is 32.
32. Okay, cool.
Good call.
Yeah.
All right, so my dudes, Palamutes and Palicos are old news. I'm looking for something new and exciting to spice up my fictional bachelor life. Please tell me a bit about the monster you've adopted, how you've had to change your day-to-day life to care for this monster, and most importantly, why I should adopt one myself. Todd, I'll start with you.
You know, Matt, when they'll say that people resemble their pets. And so when I walked into the Shut Up Todd, when I walked into the Shut Up Todd pet store, it only took me just like a few minutes to figure out who was going to be my new take home pet friend. Which they recognized me when I walked in. They asked how my Lakitu was doing, which I said he's still doing upside down handstand push-ups. And so as I walked in past the various Lakitus doing, or we said it's Lakitus, whatever.
Your version is Lakitu.
Yeah, my version is Lakitu. As I walked in, stop it. I walked past a series of them doing standing upright rows. I found myself, in the section labeled wyverns, and they were just left, right, and center. All these options. There were lizards. There were lizards made of rock. There were lizards made of fire. There were lizards made of webbing. There were dragons. There were dragons made of rock. There were dragons. Anyway, Matt, you get the point. And so that was when I finally saw a young Baroth, and it was named Barry. Barry the Baroth. And so if you're not familiar with a Baroth, it is a T-Rex made out of stone, is probably the best way I can describe this to you. And so, Matt, me being a guy that enjoys going for runs and truly hates being hot, I was immediately drawn to this T-Rex made out of stone that will rapidly charge anything that threatens it and enjoys burrowing into the mud to avoid overheating. So took this small young Baroth home, just a small little pup. And obviously Barry lives outside right now in our backyard because, couldn't have him burrowing inside the floors. We would never get our deposit back. But, Matt, the best thing about this is this works. This works really, really well. Baroth loves the mud. And as you know, here in the state of Ohio, we are currently experiencing mud season.
It is mud season. I can confirm we are heavily in mud season.
Yeah, so I got to tell you, if you were to choose a new wyvern to take home with you, it's got to be a Bareth. I just know that penned up outside with a little bit of space, no threatening loud noises, and a little bit of mud, it'd be a good addition to your home.
It's got this wild, like, shelf-looking head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like, and this is my own weird thing, so if nobody else gets it, that's fine, but it looks a little bit like a deviant art version of the Pokemon Loudred, but caught Tree Man disease and became Tree Man Deviant Art Loudred. Do that Google searching on your own and see if you agree with
I'm
me.
going to pass on that one.
I followed that train of thought. I see how you got there.
Thanks. Yeah.
Loudred.
Yeah.
Todd, do you keep anything on that weird shelf head of it?
Well, I think
is it a place for your trinkets?
I haven't taken Barry yet to obedience classes. We're still trying to get past the rapidly charging at me phase, but I really do think that after some couple weekends a month at the local Petco, they could really make some good progress, and we could. I think we could really. The possibilities are near endless. However, the issue is like on top of that head shelf, you see those little like pores up there. Those are Barry's nostrils, and so you just got to really like be mindful about what you put on top of that, because I'm sure your pet wouldn't want you to like stack ornate plates on top of your nose if it impeded your breathing.
That's fair. Yeah. That's fair.
Huh. Todd, one last question. Can you just give me like a rundown? How big is Barry?
Well, currently it's just a puppy. Just a little pup.
Is that what you call small Barretts? Puppies?
Well, until you find a different answer, yes.
All right, yeah, I'll take that.
And just a little pup. The owner wasn't really like clear how big Barry would grow to. When I said that we have a 2-bedroom townhouse, they said, "Oh, we're sure that'll probably be fine." But then they also made me sign the thing that I couldn't return Barry. So,
Shut Up Todd Pet Store's no return policy on
notorious.
Problematic pets is notorious. Yeah.
It's the print is so small.
Yeah,
and they put stuff in front of the sign behind the counter too. They really get you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not out on the idea of a Bareth. I like a Bareth. It seems cool so far. Kyle, tell me a little bit about what you adopted, because I'm really playing the market here. I'm window shopping right now. I want to hear what you got.
Well, so as you guys know, and as most of our listeners probably know, I live in Colorado, so it gets colder than where you guys are in Ohio. And as you also know, I rent a modest 2-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor of an apartment complex. So as such, when we went to pick out a new pet at Shut Up Todd Pet Store, we decided the best thing for us is the largest fanged beast they had, a Gammoth.
I just Googled a Gammoth, and it is absolutely just Divine Beast Varuda from Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
It's a big woolly mammoth.
I get that reference.
It lives in the cold. So great pet for here in Colorado. And it's again the largest fanged beast they had. So naturally we had to make some space for it. So we moved our living room set into one of our bedrooms so that we'd have room for all the food this thing eats. Trunks lives outside, actually. Trunks is the name I gave to the Gammoth we got. We feed Trunks off of our balcony. He lives by the tree outside our complex. And so far, he's only maimed 2 dogs, 4 joggers, and a freshman girls cross-country team. So he hasn't been too aggressive like we were worried about. And our downstairs neighbors moved out from all the commotion, so it's kind of been a win-win.
Cool, yeah. Go ahead.
A full team?
It's a small school.
Did he maim every single one of them?
Well, it was the freshman girls team. They were all running together, and yeah, they weren't hard to catch. I tried to warn them.
So it was the JV team, is what you're saying?
yeah. And I tried to warn them, but they wouldn't listen to me. And Trunks got them. And My lawyers say I shouldn't say much more about it.
So I don't really have a ton to say about this what's it called? A gammoth? It looks cool.
Gammoth.
This one picture that I'm looking at makes it look as though the end of its trunk has like a lot of teeth. Like looks like the hellish bottom of a starfish. Is that true? This is both in the bit and out of the bit. I'm curious if this is real or like deviant art. But it looks like it's got angry teeth on the end of its trunk.
I have not seen anything about angry teeth from Trunks, but
Let's consult. We actually have a Monster Hunter veteran on speed
a
dial.
pro
So
Monster Hunter.
Let me just call Andrew real quick.
It looks like that is canon. In fact, that
It
he's
does
got
have-
spikies under his trunk.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. Well,
Trunks is being a little shy with us still, I guess. We haven't gotten a close look at its trunk.
So I really like the look of this gammoth. It seems really cool. I am a little concerned that you're right. You do live in Colorado and I live in Ohio, and it seems more temperate in Colorado to have a gammoth than it does here in Ohio, but I could be interested in relocating. So before I finish my window shopping, Andrew, go ahead and let me know what you brought home from the Shut Up Todd Pet store.
Yeah, sure. So when I went to the Shut Up Todd Pet store, I said the
It
thing
just
that
rolls off the tongue.
it
really does.
Good.
It really does. I said the thing that I find myself saying all the time, which is, man, I can't even keep myself alive, let alone another, living being, right? And I don't know about you if you feel the same way, but that's what I've got going on. So this is when I realized, why burden myself with all the anxiety about keeping a pet alive when I can just domesticate one that's already dead? So allow me to introduce to you, Matt, the elder dragon Val-Hazak, which is an amalgamation of bones and tainted flesh fused together by the life-stealing effluvia that makes up the core of Monster Hunter World's Rotten Vale.
I have a question of one of the words you said. Do you want to guess which one it was?
Was it Vale?
It was not, actually.
Was it? What is effluvia?
That would be the one. You got it in two.
We'll get there.
Well, that's the legendary Pokemon from the Johto region.
So, and remember how I said I couldn't even keep a plant alive in the past? I'm so glad that Val-Hazak came into my life when he did, because it just seems like death has really been following me around lately. I had a couple succulents that I bought from a farmer's market about a month ago, and I specifically bought them because they told me they don't die. Like, you have to really try to kill a succulent. They can live with very little water, very little light. Of course, they've since wilted. My lawn outside my house, I don't know if this happens to you guys sometimes, in the summer and stuff, like, it looks like it's turning a little brown. So I started watering it. It just only seemed to make it worse, and now my house just kind of looks like, like where a witch would live in a children's cartoon. Weird thing, and I guess it's like must be something's going on with like the produce or something. But every time I buy produce from the grocery store, it just like rots like in the next day. It's super weird. But regardless, thank God Val-Hazak is still thriving. And Matt, he's so low maintenance. Like, he literally just lies in my basement, specifically avoiding direct sunlight and any other human contact. And he's so happy when I come down to see him. I mean, you can't really tell visually because his face is mostly just a collection of mangled tendons and razor sharp teeth. But you know.
Is that how you're ending that sentence?
It's
You know how it is with a pet, Todd. When
you know
when
how
they
it
love
is.
when you know
Yeah.
they love you,
like dogs don't
Yeah.
smile, but when dogs are happy. It's the same idea. I mean, and me and Val-Hazak, we don't have to do anything but just sit and enjoy each other's presence. And I'm still so worn out after hanging out that I almost always immediately take a nap. You know how, like, when you love something so unconditionally that you are just physically exhausted, just the idea of being in their presence to the point where you can almost feel yourself being wrenched from this mortal coil? Do you know that feeling?
Do you know that feeling, Matt?
The bit dictates that I say yes, so I guess I'll say yes.
That's all I got. It's Valhazak. So if to answer your question, Todd, effluvia is a miasma that spills from its pores that is basically like death. It's the stench of death.
Now, I'm familiar with enough games that use the term miasma. Now describe miasma without saying effluvia.
It is a thick effluvia. Damn it.
Andrew, two things. Thing one, I love that your first example of the effects of this death dragon where I killed my succulents. Thing two, listeners, I've mentioned before that I was a #edgy teen when I was younger. This dragon is what the background on my computer looked like. Like back in the Windows XP days when my mom, my dad, and I all picked different backgrounds on the computer. I Googled scary death dragon, and this was the kind of shit I had on my background. So you're playing to a very nostalgic part of my life.
He's the Ghost Rider of the Monster Hunter world for sure.
Like that less.
That's quite the analogy.
The fun thing here is that if Valhazak is to blame for your unkillable plants that require nothing to die, then if that's the reason why they died, then that at least gives me a good idea of maybe what happened to all of our succulents. Because boy howdy, we can't keep them alive. And to my knowledge, we don't have a death dragon living in our basement.
No, have you checked?
To your knowledge.
To his knowledge.
Not enough.
Yeah.
All right.
What does an amalgamation of bones and tainted flesh smell like in your in your house, Andrew?
I think it smells like that fluvia, right?
Yeah.
It's a miasma.
Well, it's pronounced stevia, and it's a 0-calorie sweetener.
Yeah. Strangely enough, smells like yellow onions.
You got me while I was drinking my stevia riddled Diet Coke with that one.
Smells like yellow onions, you said?
Smells like yellow onions, believe it or not.
All
Makes
right.
me hate yellow onions way more.
All right. Well, we all know that training a pet is hard. Not only are you teaching your pet to follow commands, you're also learning their characteristics to try to identify their needs. If you could, friends, please take a second to fill me in on the patterns you've noticed in your pet and what sort of needs or actions those patterns indicate in your pet's day-to-day life.
Nice.
Todd, go ahead.
Well, like I said, our little pup Barry, he's certainly territorial. Barry doesn't want you to get really close to him at all, and he'll do some snorting out of his nostrils if you do to let you know that you shouldn't be there.
Out of his head nostrils, you mean?
Out of his head nostrils,
his skull nostrils.
Out of his skull holes.
His skulls.
They're still nostrils, even if they're not on the front of his face.
Our nostrils are also skull holes.
These are fair enough.
The great uniter.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just can't really get too close before Barry's going to warn you that not maybe that they're in a bad mood, but they just don't want you anywhere near them. And like I said, they're going to do that by snorting air out of their nostrils. And as I mentioned, of course, those are on the top of its head. So don't be caught alarmed, kind of readjusting to say like, oh, are those nostrils on its head? Because it's going to charge you. Now, fortunately,
is it charging you because you're asking about the nostrils, or is that unrelated?
We are it is unknown. It is unknown the cause. And again, like Barry right now, just like knee high. But that'll that little headbutt made out of stone, that straight to the kneecap is gonna feel bad. So, and it is worth noting, I think I might have already said this, those head nostrils serve a purpose. Barry likes to burrow under the ground in the mud when it gets too hot, and so, or just for funsies, who knows? And those nostrils allow it to just like breathe while it's underground, which is pretty neat. But here's the big thing: you just gotta run around a bit. You'll tucker him out. He's just a pup. He'll calm down. Just dogs gotta get out and run. And so Barry, as I said, is prone to recklessly charge at you. So you're going to want to jump out of the way of that, especially as Barry does get larger. Now, Matt, since you asked the question in the last question, how big Barry will get, I did one of those dog ancestry 23andMe things.
Is that a real thing?
I don't.
Shut up.
You're going to need to explain this.
Yeah, you can definitely you can send DNA from your dog and they'll tell you like where it's from and all of its like
Man.
it's like types that are into it.
White people
Weird.
are crazy.
It is the whitest
So
person
crazy,
thing ever.
dude.
100%. Yeah, real out of the bit. Shannon and I would never do that. We might do this if it was on sale. We'd never spend. We would never spend real money.
We are 6 months away from Todd telling us
I
on
am
call.
literally putting the sample in the envelope as we speak.
I think if you
Anyway.
get 10 chai tea lattes from Starbucks, they give you a discount on that, actually.
They 100% would. Back into the bit. So Matt, I did send that out after you asked me, and I have an answer since then. It's that quick. So Barry, we can expect, and I wish I would have known this ahead of time. Barry will grow to be a little over 57 feet tall, which seems problematic at the end of the day. Seeing as how Barry is currently 2 feet tall, maybe. Don't worry, I also sent one out for Trunks, and I didn't get a name on yours, Andrew, so I named it Kilmer.
It's Val.
And-
I said it's Val. First name Val,
Oh.
last name Hazak.
Oh, it has a first and last name that is not your own last name.
Well, it's not my child.
Normal people give their pets their last name.
That's
Okay,
That's
I
some white
disagree with
bullshit.
that.
Or it's got one name like Cher. Or Cisco.
What's Oliver's last name, Matt?
I don't think
If we're gonna
anyone's
go
on
off
your
on this
side
tangent.
this one.
My cat doesn't have a last name. He's a cat.
He's a
like
cat.
Cher or Cisco?
He doesn't have. He doesn't need a surname because he doesn't have a
Kyle?
legacy to uphold.
Kyle, what's Rigby's last name?
Rigby's last name is most certainly Harper. We've
Done.
That's what
And
we've.
Andrew
I
is
don't-
unable to love and has no pet, so he doesn't get a vote.
Well,
Like,
I
if
have
we're
a death dragon.
If we're gonna play the game, his prescription is under Maddie's last name, so I guess it's Oliver Hill. But that's
all right.
not relevant to this conversation.
Okay. This aside,
We're gonna dox Matt's
did-
cat.
Anyway, the joke that I'm trying to get to is Kyle, Trunks, in case you're curious, I also sent some DNA out for Trunks. Trunks is going to be over 85 and a half feet tall when it's all said and done with.
Yeah.
And Andrew,
That's why we're feeding him from our balcony.
Yeah, I mean, Trunks lives outside. I'm not concerned about Trunks.
Well, Andrew, I don't know how big your basement is, but
It's big
Val is
enough.
going to be just barely above 85 feet, so a little smaller than Trunks. Anyway, I think I had more to say here. Oh yeah, in the end, Matt, here's the thing: all that Barry wants to do is just like run around and roll around in the mud, and just toss around piles of mud at you. Now you're gonna want to watch out for that because when threatened or playful, not really sure, could be both, Barry's going to throw mud at you. And this mud is going to make you very, very slow. And so if Barry still wants to charge you because you haven't tuckered him out, he's going to charge you in the mud. And it's going to go probably poorly for you. But, I think what I'm just trying to say is that when you have Barry, you've really just got effectively an ill-tempered baby pig, but it's also like a rock dinosaur. And... is there a more perfect pet to be owned?
That
I have
There
a
is not.
question.
was
I have
quite the sentence.
I have a question for you, Todd. You
Mhm.
said the mud would slow him down. How much mud is this dog-sized dinosaur actually slinging?
It's all relative to the size of Barry. Currently, right now, it's just fun and playful, like
Okay.
half of a baby wading pool. Whereas by the end of this, it'll probably be like one of those flimsy above ground pools that everyone put
Oh,
outside
okay, so
in
like
like the summer of 1999.
Enough mud to take an entire house down.
How big's the house?
I have no further
mean,
questions.
Maybe. Who's to say? We've just
Who's
recently
to say?
realized
Yeah.
we're just recently realized how big Barry is going to be, so we're still doing that math.
All right. Well, while you consider the size of your most recent purchase, Kyle, go ahead and fill me in on the patterns of Trunks.
Well, Matt, like I told that cross-country coach, Gammoths telegraph all of their attacks from their front legs and their trunks, which means those girls either were not paying attention or were taunting Trunks, and regardless, he's innocent.
Are you victim blaming this cross
You
country team
definitely
right
are
now,
victim
Kyle?
blaming these high school girls.
He also clearly does this thing where he whips up a massive windstorm with his trunk before he shoots a freezing blast out of it or lashes out with his trunk fangs. So that whole team should have just kept running when the skies turned dark in a matter of seconds, and they would have been fine. It's in Trunks' nature to lash out like that. He can't help it. Those girls should have just kept running like I told them.
It seems to me, and I don't want to agree with Kyle, but maybe they're just bad at running.
That's what I'm saying.
They were JV.
I love the image of Kyle and Julie on their balcony, just like screaming, like, "No, run! Keep running!"
Yeah.
See, in my mind, Kyle's wearing a suit in front of a judge giving this explanation.
In my mind, it's
things.
Kyle in his banana shirt sipping a mimosa, saying, "Yep, better get moving."
You girls better pump them arms.
See the sky? Storm coming.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So this seems like an important question, Kyle. Todd was talking about, there's some mud flinging and there's some charging, but that kind of like comes from a distance. If the whole sky turns black and a storm comes in a matter of seconds, like how much time do you have to react when Gammoth is when Gammoth is enraged? I don't have a better word for that.
So Matt, I'm glad you asked. When Trunks turns the sky dark, when he gets that windstorm going, we've learned it's not the windstorm you need to worry about, because it's only 10 or so seconds before he's either going to lash out with those trunk fangs or try and suck you up with a big wind suction from his trunk. So it's only a matter of seconds. Like I said, 10 or 15. There's
a big difference between 10 and 15 seconds.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So for my example, I know how Barry acts because he's a little pup and he's done these things. He's charged, he's thrown mud. Have you had to deal with being sucked up by the eldritch horror that is the trunk of your mammoth monster?
I have.
Like, how long did it take you to learn?
We timed it between 10 and 15 seconds.
It feels like that's one thing you learn it once.
So yeah, I got sucked up once because I didn't know how long it took between the storm.
If I had to guess, it was 10 to 15
but
seconds.
After that, we would throw things, try and provoke them with toys.
Like you do to your pet.
Yeah. So we'd throw some balls and you'd see the sky turn dark, and then we'd count, and he'd suck up the ball and shoot it back out, and we'd start playing fetch, and it was fun. But that's how we figured out how long it took. It was just
fun.
Some normal game of fetch with our 85-foot tall Gammoth, our 85-foot tall elephant monster.
I want to know what the velocity is of the ball that comes out of your 85-foot mammoth.
Todd, you don't want to be in front of that
ball.
Usually you want to put your body right in front of something like that to catch it, not this one.
Nope.
All right. Interesting. Okay, Andrew, go ahead. Fill me in on the patterns of Val Kilmer Hazak.
Nice. So I'll be honest, it's a little hard to tell, but I'll explain kind of what I have noticed. So when I first brought Val home, I noticed this thin gray fog that was collecting in corners around the house, and the fog was thickest in the basement. And then, of course, I realized that it was coming directly from Val Hazak's body. Now, at first, I was a little scared. Sure, what kind of poison have I been breathing in for the past few days, right? But after a while, I just kind of became physically numb. And let me be clear, I don't mean numb to it. I just mean numb. Like, can't feel anything. Yeah. It's nice.
Huh.
It's not bad. It's fine.
This is the second drug pet you've brought up.
No, I mean, it's just like, a cloudy, emotionless fog has collected over my body, and I don't need to move or think or even be.
Yeah, I know. My favorite Pink Floyd album is also The Wall. I get it. But, like, so there's no, like, real telegraph. It's just poison, and you're, like, numb?
Yeah. So... I wish I had a better answer for you. That's actually true. So look, I obviously like nobody likes being covered, their lungs filling with a toxic poison. So obviously, I was getting some complaints from the neighbors. Someone would knock loudly on my door, thinking there was like a fire or something. And after a while, that loud knocking would turn into a loud thump, and then silence. Man, people seem to get real sleepy these days. Like they're just passing out cold right on the sidewalk. And I noticed that Val Hazak does this fun thing where he like gets up on all fours and he sucks back in all the fog. And then when that happens, I usually black out to the faded sounds of screams from the eternally damned souls. And I come to about 3 to 4 hours later, and he's just there, just gnawing on a big old pile of bones. I don't know where those bones came from, but they're there. So I try not to disturb him when he's gnawing on them bones. Because the last time I did that, he wailed like a banshee and breathed more of that gray fog straight in my face. Weird thing was, that was right before all the skin fell off of my face in the shower and my teeth shattered like a pane of glass.
Andrew, are you okay? Do we need to call somebody?
I don't have a face.
Is Jess okay?
Yeah.
I
haven't heard from her in a long time.
she left days ago.
She packed a bag a long time ago when I said the word zombie dragon.
My only issue is that you took time after my answer to critique how big the puddles of mud are that come from my monster, and then you said all the things that you said.
I don't see where the challenge is. It's a zombie death dragon. What's your problem?
I think the challenge is zombie death dragon.
I have been 100% consistent.
Also, I operate under my own accord, not being coerced by the giant zombie death dragon.
No one has said anything to my face directly. Also, I don't have a face.
You don't have one of those.
Okay, well, let's move on here. I do still have a pet to adopt, and while I wanted to hear about your pets and your training, I'm really in this for the long game. I'm not a pet owner who thinks short term. I think lifelong, and I do love a utilitous pet. While I already use my dog's poop as fertilizer, my horse's hair for brushes, and my alpaca's fur for blankets, I'd like to maybe start a small market booth shop from the materials I can gather from my new pet. Please tell me.
That's a logical step.
Yeah, right? It's like selling shirkins at the local Ren Fair or whatever. Please tell me about the parts of your new pet that can be collected and what fun crafts I can make with them. Todd, go ahead.
So as Barry the Barreth grows what we have figured out to be approximately, 50 plus more feet tall and long too, because he's a dinosaur basically, in his maturing, it is expected, as we were told by the store manager, at least the person behind the counter at the Shut Up Todd pet store, that they're going to shed layers and layers of the carapace, their scalp, and of course the highly prized ridges on its head as it grows into new sizes. So much like a majestic lizard that molts, Barry's just gonna grow and molt, and it's gonna be real gross, I think. But the good news is, while Barry is growing from little Sebastian to Clifford the Big Red Dog size over their long and muddy lifetime, they're gonna leave us a lot of those shedded exoskeleton bits. They're just gonna be lying around. Now, fortunately, this is going to allow us to make some incredible and very on-brand goods that you would expect to see, at a swap meet or whatnot. Which sounds like what we're kind of going for here. So, Matt, I'm just going to sell it to you straight. We're going to make a whole mess of stone bone weapons, and I think they're going to sell really well, and I'm going to tell you why. So, to name a few of these weapons, so there are some weirdos out there, like Andrew, who like using a hunting horn, which I'll remind you,
it's the
listeners,
most popular weapon in Monster Hunter Rise. Yeah, I'm the weirdo.
And a lot of weirdos play Monster Hunter Rise. Come at me, Monster Hunter Rise players. 1v1 me. Don't do that. I'll remind you, the hunting horn is effectively what happens if you turn a tuba into an offensive melee weapon, but you still really want it to be a good tuba.
Nope. I've been okay. I'm gonna say it, Matt. It's my turn to say it. I have listened to you say so many words weird, and no few times serum. I have listened to you say serum today 5 times. Say that fucking word again. Did you just say melee?
He did. I heard
Melee?
it too,
Oh, I
and I
did.
was
Yikes.
also going to be mean about it.
Oh, I thought you were coming at me for making fun of the hunting horn.
No, I don't care about
give,
that.
I don't give a shit about
no,
the dude stick.
Melee.
But
No.
none of us
This is-
played Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Yeah,
Melee is a ramen restaurant down the road from my house.
Yeah.
Melee is the sequel to Super
I
Smash Brothers.
cannot add another to Todd's pantheon of weird words.
I've taken
can't do
so
it.
much shit for the way I talk about alternative air vehicles, which I'm not going to say on this podcast. I'm not taking this.
Anyway, so we're gonna make a hunting horn, and Matt,
how would I use what kind of combat would I use a hunting horn in, Todd?
in physical strikes against this monster done in hand-to-hand combat.
Okay.
Preferably close
feel-
quarters.
I feel like there's
Preferably close
a one word response
Check it
that
up
would sum
later.
that all
It's
up.
hard.
Mhm.
It's hard to know. Anyway, Matt. So it's gonna be called a sandpipe, and that's really cool. But as we collect more of these earthy bone sheddings, with a little bit of extra effort, we're gonna upgrade the sandpipe into a thing called the sand screecher, which is a real weapon that is made using Barreth parts, which is cool. And maybe you're more of like a hammer guy, like Kyle's been before, and if that's the case, we're gonna take these molded parts. We're going to humanely harvest them, and we're going to make a bone hammer that will ultimately upgrade to something that is legitimately called the Barreth Grand Basher. So that's a thing we're going to put on your table. And Matt, say you want to stand back and shoot. Well, we got something for you like that. Something that I think all consumers at your Sunday morning flea market will enjoy is going to be one word, 2 syllables, and it is called the Barrowzuka. That is right. That is a real weapon that you make using parts of Barrowzuka. And lastly, it's going to be asked by the patrons that show up to your table. Yes, we can make armor out of Barry's discarded bone growths. Matt, maybe we don't go that way though, because like the way that those turn out, unless you're out LARPing exclusively as a Dark Souls quest giver, you're not probably going to want to wear that armor because it is horrifying and not ideal.
Okay. All right, interesting. You lost me through most of that, but then you said Barrowzuka, and I came back, so I'm here for it. Kyle, tell me about. Oh wait, go ahead.
So are the people that are buying shurikens at Ren fairs. I think they're also going to be here for it.
Yeah, that Venn diagram is a circle. Mm-hmm. Kyle, go ahead, fill me in. What fun crafts am I taking to the Ren fair or the market, depending on where I set up my booth?
Well, Matt, I focused more on the utility of trunks and my Gammoth than I did on selling mall ninja shit to nerds at a Ren fair. So
Hey, look, one of those things gets you money, the other one doesn't.
So Gammoth fur is a really good insulator. So I've been keeping all of Trunk's brushings for next winter, so we can get through these tough Colorado winters a little easier, keep our heating costs down because we'll have our apartment so well insulated. And I've also started riding Trunks into town, so we're saving on gas and car maintenance. I've also had a few offers for to buy his ivory, but I don't know a humane way to harvest ivory from Trunks, so I'm not doing that. I've also been told to look out for poachers, but I suspect all the police officers hovering around my apartment and asking me questions about where I was when that cross-country team got mauled are keeping the poachers away. But yeah, it's a convenient ride, and I'm looking forward to a very warm winter.
Are we certain that the JV cross-country team weren't scouts for poachers?
Todd, I think my lawyer and I are going to have a very good conversation about that, because I think you're onto something.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm with you. I can take the brushings, I can make nice mittens and coats and blankets, and I can sell them at the marketplace. That all sounds swell. Kyle, excellent job. Andrew, something tells me I'm not going to make fun blankets with your zombie dragon. I'm curious what you got.
I'm gonna be gross.
Yeah.
So, Matt, you may recall my quick story about the face, skin, and teeth falling out. You may have also noticed that I no longer have a jaw. I don't know how I'm talking.
We have
but
noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't want to bring it up, but
yeah.
yeah, you're looking a little rough there.
Like I
friend.
said,
Yeah.
can't even keep myself alive. So fortunately, in order to hide my ghoulish physique, I realized that the decaying skin flaps that Val Hazak leaves behind whilst feasting on rotten skeletal remains are actually very durable and very breathable. So I started by stitching together patches of skin flaps using scraps of those muscle membranes that hang off of Val Hazak's mouth. And then I wove the yellowed flesh tags around razor-sharp talons that I'd clipped from him earlier that day. Now, when I go out in town with the confusing yet eerily comfortable hunger of human flesh, I can do so with my skinless face completely covered. And now that the majority of my other organs are partially exposed to the elements, I figured it was worth using even more of that noxious substance to cover the rest of my crumbling body. So I fashioned an old carapace that I found in the bone nest from Val Hazak's last molting, and I layered it with the razor-sharp bones that fell off of his skeletal wings. And now I have full plate armor, and you can't see any of my hideous skin or not skin. Also, I
Okay.
think I'm a zombie is the bit.
I'm sufficiently horrified.
Is this
Yeah.
like a Ship of Theseus situation where you are no longer Andrew, you are in fact just discarded pieces of Val Hazak?
I was
Yeah.
thinking it was more of like a Buffalo Bill situation. Or to reference a different flavor text, it's kind of like the last purple guy from FNAF 5.
Ooh, good.
There you go. Yeah.
Ooh.
So, real talk, I didn't have a way to fit this in, but I do want to call attention to the Black Veil Hazak armor. So, like, the normal Val Hazak armor is like just kind of leathery plate armor, but the Black Veil Hazak armor, which is from his Iceborne variant, you can just be like the fucking king of death, and it's super rad.
This
And
is
you just-
maybe the coolest thing I've ever seen on the internet.
It is the best
Oh,
armor in any
that's
Monster Hunter game. And
Wow.
yeah, it's really cool, and that's why Val Hazak fucking rules.
You are the Wild Hunt.
Yeah,
From
it's basically that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And they did a collab with Witcher 3, so I'm sure they were like, "Hey, is it cool if we just make the Witcher the Wild Hunt armor?"
And they're like, yeah, it's
yeah.
rad, go.
Yeah, it's like a mashup between that and the Night King from
Yeah.
From
And
Game
then
of
the
Thrones,
female
yeah.
the female variant very much looks like it was pulled from like Bloodborne or
Mhm.
Curse of Strahd or some Victorian era gothic horror. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Also,
is
that
really
set
cool.
that set is called Death Stench.
Like that
Great.
less.
Yeah, that's not better.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now that I have heard about not only your pet, but how training them has been and the general utility of the pet, I think I am ready to head on down to the Shut Up Todd pet store and pick something up for myself. But hey, on the way, I bumped into my very good friend Chris Pratt's character from Jurassic World. First name
Oh.
Chris Pratt's, last name character from Jurassic World.
Yeah.
And he told me about a new program he's consulting on, which is trying to integrate genetic beasts into the workplace. So after we take a quick break, I would love to know about what real life job your new monster pet would offer a distinct advantage to. And like I said, I'll take your answers right after this. We've also got a Ding Dang Patreon where you can get yourself some Ding Dang perks like access to our Ding Dang Discord, regular Ding Dang bonus content, weekly Ding Dang live recordings of our second show, The Ploose is Loose, and even the opportunity to commission your own Ding Dang flavor text. You can join up for as low as $2 Ding Dang, so make sure to tell all your Ding Dang friends. All right, welcome back. So, like I said, I was on my way down to the Shut Up Todd pet store, and I bumped into my very good friend Chris Pratt's character from Jurassic World, and he told me that I should ask you what real-world job your pet would be of great advantage to. So, Todd, let me know.
Yeah, Barry. Actually, this is a perfect time to implement that plan. So, good news for Barry and all that Barry will be able to help. Not sure if you're aware, there was recently announced a $2 trillion infrastructure bill. Because of that, we're going to need construction workers. We're going to need them fast, and we're going to need to work hard. And so, because of that, Barry will be an ideal bulldozer replacement by day. So, we're looking at a good 8-hour day. Barry can just up earth, dirt, and mud and shove it around just wherever it needs to be, which I think is really, really good. Now, Barry's in it for the hustle. Barry's going to carry 2 jobs because this is an economy and we got to get.
It's a rise and grind type of
rise and grind.
mud T-Rex.
Well, and if you haven't noticed, so not only do we have this new infrastructure bill coming out that's going to make construction explode, life is also starting to kind of enter into the people want to be outside dining more. The weather's nice. Restaurants are starting to reopen. Barry at night is going to serve as a bar server at the biggest outdoor bar that we can find. Now, I see some cautious looks. Think about it this way. That shelf-like head of Barry can easily carry at minimum 700 to 800 shots of well tequila to any patron across the bar. So I mean, on his flat plate head, and if we keep it at like 700 to 800, there's no risk of it spilling into his nostrils. And if it does spill into his nostrils, whoops,
Someone's getting a gourd.
yes, at minimum.
All right. Interesting. Oddly topical. Surprisingly topical.
Right.
Kyle, what about you? Tell me about your. I keep forgetting the names of these stupid
It's a
things.
gammoth.
Gammoth.
The gammoth.
It's like
Truck
mammoth,
runners.
but with
Giant
a G.
mammoth.
Yeah, that was good. Giant mammoth. I get it now. Thank you. All right, Kyle. Tell me about your gammoth.
So similar to Todd and Barry here, we are also going to take advantage of that giant infrastructure bill that is coming down the pipeline. But Trunks here is going to work to replace a crane and would be a crane operator. A crane, just picking things up, putting them back down in different places. Moving the heavy things. And the trunk is way more dexterous than like your average mechanical crane would be. So Barry's gonna be able to hold stuff in place while workers get in there and bolt it in place. He's gonna like be able to navigate things into otherwise hard to reach spaces. So he's gonna be a real asset on the construction site. And then during the summer months, Trunks really wants to give back to the community because he wants to, and not because a judge mandated some service hours to me and him for something that may or may not have happened to a cross country team. So we're going to volunteer at the local park and just spray water around for like a giant living sprinkler for the kids to play in, and then Trunks is going to whip up that windstorm, dry him off, and then send them on home, all tuckered out for their day, clean and dry. Giving
That
back
seems
to
unnecessary.
the community.
Giving back to the community.
What do you think the PSI is on that trunk water pressure that comes out of that
It's
thing?
going up, Todd.
Okay.
We're not going to like fire hose these kids.
You're not like pressure washing the
No.
skin
They're
off
gonna-
of anyone.
They're gonna look like me having no face.
No face,
Okay.
no skin.
Interesting. Also oddly topical. Andrew,
I can't wait to hear Andrew's answer.
All
I'm
right,
very
so-
curious if I'm gonna have to pay your zombie dragon union wages on a construction line, or if he's gonna be more of an individual contractor.
He's definitely not a team player. So if you haven't noticed, and I don't know how clear it was, but his whole thing is that miasma cloud. Once he sucks that back in, he's actually sucking the life force from whatever like breathed in that gas.
What? No.
Believe it or not.
That's what's been happening.
Oh, all right.
So we're gonna. So obviously, anything Val Hazak needs to do is going to need to involve death to some kind, and they are the kind of creature that are willing to do the dirty work, right? They're really willing to get in there and do what needs to be done. Someone's got to do it. And, we thought about it long and hard, and we've decided that we're going to open up our own pest control business. And so what's going to happen is Valazak releases his fog, just like a big old bug bomb, and just everything in a 10-mile radius is not gonna live.
10 miles, huh?
Wow,
Or whatever.
Big bug bomb.
Or whatever. I mean, give people enough advance notice, and
so you'll have to evacuate an entire cities at a time, but
Yeah.
there won't be any bugs left.
We've got however big it takes. Jesus Christ. However much materials we have to make a big tent.
Okay.
I love
10.
I love thinking that that's what'll stop the powers of Valhazak. One of those big bug bomb tents they put over houses.
Wow. All right. Well, I am at the Shut Up Todd pet store, so I'm going to do a little more soul searching before I make my final decision. But hey, they actually had a sign in the window. They're looking for a graphic designer. So if you could give me your closing statements today in the form of a sign they would hang at the pet store to convince people to adopt your pet, I would really love to hear it. Todd, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so mine's real easy. On the front of the pen, where we keep these guys, the pen, probably a pen.
It's your headcanon, buddy.
Yeah, no, in the pen, there's a sign in front that has a music note emoji before and after this, but it says, "Open the door, get on the floor, come adopt a big stone dinosaur."
All right.
Excellent. Excellently done.
Did you do the thing, Todd? Are you happy with yourself?
I will not take any criticism from anyone on this podcast for that right there.
All right, Kyle, go for it.
So it's gammoths. Affectionate, warm, fuzzy, totally won't trample a girl's cross-country team. Gammoths.
Because certainly everybody in Kyle's Colorado town read the newspaper about the cross-country team.
Alleged.
Not everyone.
Alleged cross-country team.
Not everyone here was going to do a song for theirs, but the way that Kyle, you started it, I imagined it with Megan Thee Stallion's Savage. Gammoths.
All right, Andrew. Round us out here.
Valhazak. Everyone's dying to meet him.
God.
Good.
All right.
No
Yep.
notes.
Cool. Well, I'm going to pick a pet. You guys do some good vibes.
Boy, howdy. I really like Monster Hunter. And I forgot how silly all of these things are. And it was fun to also see things from different games because I've only played a little bit of Rise. I said to Andrew before, it just feels like we're constantly fighting different kinds of dragons or T-Rexes. So it was fun to see that.
I recall the terminology used was fancy raptors.
They are all just fancy raptors. So it was fun to have. We checked the raptor box. We checked the dragon box, but then we also got a mammoth box. Man, Kyle, I like your woolly mammoth, and I instantly got Flintstones vibes.
Mhm.
So I was curious what utility you were going to give them. It's a shame to hear about that accident though with the cross country team. I sure hope they find out who was responsible for that.
I do too, Todd. The parents of those kids really deserve some closure, but I don't know anything more about that, and don't want to talk about it any further.
And Andrew, I feel like we only have you to blame for this whole entire episode. So
This is me giving you a thumbs up over the camera.
Do we get to fight the scary zombie dragon in Rise?
He's not in Rise, unfortunately.
I'm gonna throw the game away then.
Yeah.
But
wait for a couple DLCs. There'll be a variant.
Show up.
They'll come out with they haven't come out with all the Elder Dragons yet, but all the Elder Dragons are fucking nuts.
Nice. Well, thank you for describing how this thing has made your life terrible, but also helped you out. Maybe
the lore is now that I don't have a jaw. So
yeah,
But he
Add it
doesn't
to the
care
wiki.
because he's so numb.
You're like Kane from Soul Reaver, like we talked about.
Yep.
But yeah, your dragon is horrifying and excellent, and I sure hope I get to try and fight it and cut its stupid tail off.
Hell yeah.
Todd, I very much liked your shelf-headed dino, your mud T-Rex. Very good. Probably what I would actually pick as a real pet from like some variant of the T-Rex that exists in these games for sure.
Mhm.
And Andrew, very good job doing what you did, describing your slow descent into undeath as this elder dragon consumed your life force. Good job.
Thank you very Todd. I love the imagery of a little baby Baroth just like charging it with its dumb train whistle head. Because let me be clear, it has a dumb train whistle head.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really fun. I'm glad that you brought Baroth to the table, but I'm even more happy that you clicked so well with Monster Hunter because I wasn't sure how everybody would react to it. Kyle, I didn't get very far in Generation, so I'm not familiar with Gammoth. It was really fun to learn about Gammoth, and I think he was my favorite design of the three. Well, actually, I think Valhazak is still my favorite design, but I very much liked Gammoth's design, and I keep almost calling him Grandma.
Grandma.
So that, yeah, Grandma. Yeah, he's just a big mammoth.
It's a big elephant.
He's got a big spiky trunk.
Yeah.
And if you let him on fire, you could also be a ghost rider. So, what's not to love? Great job,
All
guys.
right. Well, this has been a very good time. This is about as close to Monster Hunter as I ever need to get. So this was fun. Thanks for involving me. I've had a good time. Now on to a decision. What pet did I take home from the Shut Up Todd pet store? Now, I walked in, I did some soul searching, I spent some time holding and playing with all of these animals in the weird little pens that you can take adopted animals in and play with them and hope they don't get sad when you don't take them home. And here are the decisions that I made. So, Andrew, I really like Valhazak. Really cool looking, great concept, love the surrounding aura of death. However,
thanks. I'm so happy I won today, guys. This was great. I really just love that I pulled this out. Oh, I'm sorry.
I actually already have an adopted reptile, and my reptile doesn't do very well with other reptiles in the home, so I'm gonna have to pass on the death dragon today, unfortunately.
That was the reason why.
Nothing else.
Yeah,
no.
Because my corn snake has traumatic past and doesn't like to be in the tank with other reptiles. And so that leaves me with the Gammoth and the Barith. And I gotta be honest, I've been looking for an excuse to move to a colder climate for a long time, and this Gammoth is it. So I'm going to take this Gammoth. I'm going to move to Alaska, probably to a town where there's not a lot of cross-country teams. And I'm going to live it up in the snow with my new best Gammoth friend. Kyle, you are the winner today.
Yeah.
In the second Shut Up Todd Pet Store battle of Debate This history. Congratulations. And with that, my friends, that's going to do it for Debate This. So thanks for listening. You can follow along with the arguments on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at DebateThisCast, or on our website at debatethiscast.com. We've also got a Ding Dang Patreon, where you can get yourself some Ding Dang perks like access to our Ding Dang Discord, regular Ding Dang bonus content, weekly Ding Dang live recordings of our second show, The Ploose is Loose, and even the opportunity to commission your own Ding Dang flavor text. You can join up for as low as $2 Ding Dang dollars, so make sure to tell all your Ding Dang friends.
Can we? Well, we need to get a rough cut of that so we can just like pop it in as a liner all the time.
Yeah. I'll do a clean recording and we can use
Perfect.
that. We don't have to hear about the Wii Shop music anymore. We can hear about the Ding Dang Patreon. Oh boy! Until next time, I'm Matt Cole.
I'm Todd. The worst thing about my pet is that he dino snores. Thomas.
See, the thing with starting with
good.
the punchline is that the punchline has to be good, Todd.
Oh yeah. I won't redo it. Kyle, what do you have?
I'm Kyle. Knock, knock, open up the door, it's real, with the non-stop pop-pop of stainless steel Harper.
And I'm Andrew. Gamoth got run over by a reindeer, Henderson.
We're saying thanks for debating with us. And if you think we're wrong, you can come fight us behind the swing sets, nerds.